Listen, man, we're back. We're back again to the Englishlit podcast. I have a special guest, my family, my cousin, my baby sister, Bri Loveberry. Come on, y'all. What's up, Bri? How you doing?
What's up?
How you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. It's back sunny out. It was a little cold the last few days, but it's back sunny, so I'm in my element now.
Man, listen, I thank God that you showed up today, man, that you finally came out. I know we have been talking about this, kind of going back and forth. I don't know whose schedule was the worst, mine or yours, but
Probably yours.
you here now. Man, so listen, where do we begin? I could start off by saying, I remember when you was in the womb. Yeah. I remember, being with your mom in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Shout out to Tabisha, who was also my godmother. Rubbing your stomach right before you came out. Right before you came out. And now you all grown up, you grown now. I think it's still kind of unreal to me and your brothers how quick you grew up. Because we remember holding you and everything. So
It's
we
crazy,
proud of
isn't
you. Yeah, so man, for the people who don't know you, um, just tell a little bit about yourself, like where you from, family and everything like that.
Okay, I am born and raised Southern Baby, Alabama, all the way.
Okay.
I went to Jacksonville High School. I graduated in 2019. I'm currently working with Second Chance, which is a domestic violence organization that helps women who have been through domestic violence and men also. So men, women, and if they have children. So we just try to get them the resources that they need, whether in our county or in surrounding counties.
Gotcha. So how did you get that job? How did that come about?
So, I know the executive director. She is also a breast cancer survivor. So I met her at a breast cancer event then. And when she became the executive director, she had reached out. So I went out, interviewed, talked a little bit, did some research on the program to make sure that's what I was fit for. And it just went from there. I've been there. My year anniversary was just February 5th. So I've been there a year and a few months.
Gotcha. So you grew up in Jacksonville, Alabama?
Mm-hmm. Golden Eagles all the way.
Okay, Jacksonville High School. So let's just tell a little bit about dad and mom, just the aspects of growing up. Any siblings, anything like that?
Yeah, so I grew up with both my parents, made from Ronald and Javisha Loveberry. I have it's a lot of us. It's about six of us.
A lot of y'all.
All boys, only girl. Then
I know.
yeah. So just growing up with them, just having to I was just already raised as a tough cookie as it is, because being around all boys wasn't too much of crying and doing all that. You had to toughen up and get with the program with them.
Yeah. And you were a spoiled cookie too. You were definitely spoiled.
I mean, my thing is, I don't like to say it's spoiled. I like to say blessed.
Ooh, come on.
You like that?
Drop that one.
Hello. I like to say blessed. I don't really do but they tell it, and if you tell it, it's spoiled.
Gotcha. So, all boys, all brothers. I'm the only girl in the house. How did that kind of make you the woman that you are today, as far as having those brothers around you?
I think growing up with all brothers really put me in the mind state of not really letting anybody just treat me any kind of way. Whether it was dating, friends, or anybody, I just really never took any sort of kind of disrespect. Because if you know my mom, she doesn't take any disrespect either.
No.
So just from being with her and then being with them and then being with my dad, it was never tolerated. So I think I just always had a forward head on strong, and I just anything that I wanted to do, I would do it. But like any kind of goal I try to accomplish, I always put my best foot forward to try to do it.
Shout out to the brothers, man. My brothers. So how would you describe your father? What word would you use to kind of describe him?
Mm,
And then your mother as well.
to describe Daddy, I would put him as, I don't know. He's just so laid back, and he's like mysterious in a kind of way because people get around him. They're like, "Oh, I didn't know he talked, and I didn't know he did this." And I'm like, if you was at home, he doesn't stop talking. Like all he does is talk.
Yeah.
And so he's just like he just puts on this. He's just calm natured and with everybody else. That's a funny man.
Yeah. and how will mom be?
She's different. She I like to. She doesn't like when I call her, but I like to call her very expressive. Expressive. She's anything. That lady. She's hilarious. I was just on the phone with her earlier, coming down here.
Yeah.
She was like, "Where are you going?" I said, "You know where I'm going."
Yeah.
I'm like, and she's all the way in Texas. I'm like, just relax.
She stayed taking trips.
She's all. Everybody thinks I'm always gone.
Yeah.
I get it from her because she's always gone.
She stay on the move. So your current manager, you met her at a breast cancer awareness event. Mm-hmm. So take me back. So your mother experienced breast cancer, correct?
Yeah, she's a survivor. I think this is 8 or 9 years ago, the anniversary around that time. So it was, she had a pink purpose party. Mm-hmm. So that's where we met Chriselle, which is our executive director, and she was there, and she had just finished her chemo treatment, and so it was like the ring the bell for survivors, and so she had came out there, and yeah, so Mama had got diagnosed when I was about, I think that was like 8th, 9th grade, something like that.
So how did it, when she sprung the news to you guys, how did that make you feel?
At first she tried to keep it as a secret. Mm-hmm. She tried to keep it a secret from everybody, and then she had randomly told us in a Panda Express, very awkward situation. I didn't really understand what was going on. I didn't really understand until I had to go back to school, and then I did research about it at school.
That's good.
Yeah. So, because I didn't want to put on a worried face in front of her, so I just did the research at school when I wasn't around her. And so when I came home, then I asked her about it, and hers was, it was like stage 1-ish, so it wasn't really that. It wasn't like stage 4. So it was very beatable. I just wanted to make sure that I knew the information so that I could assist her in any way she needed to.
Gotcha. So, since we're on the subject, of cancer, out of your brothers, you recently just lost a brother, correct? Mm-hmm. Due to cancer.
Yeah.
How has all of that been on you right now?
It's been, I would say it's on and off. Mm-hmm. Today was actually the 2-month mark that we lost him today on the 10th. So we lost him on February 10th. And so it's just been on and off. Of course, my family and then his mother's side is taking it really hard. And so we just try to get together as much as we can. Since then, it'll be a random Sunday or a random Saturday, and we'll all be at the house together. So I think, in a way, losing Ron has made us become a little bit closer as a family because we can see that we're not guaranteed tomorrow.
Yeah,
for sure.
Life is short.
For sure.
It's short. I do admire your strength, Bri. I always have. I think that's one of the things that kind of make you just how strong you are to kind of deal with, okay, my mother had cancer, she beat that. I recently just lost my brother due to cancer. And yet you still kind of pressing on and being that voice for your family, especially for your brothers. Do they ever contact you for kind of like advice and just kind of the talk, anything like that?
No, they actually don't contact me. I think as older brothers, they try to be like the leader and try to lead by example. But I think that in a way that I'm the leader because I don't really listen to much what they got to say. I be trying to be the one who be like, oh, anybody needs something? I text in our group chat. Shout out to the Brady Bunch group chat. I text in the group chat. The Brady Bunch. It's 1,000 of us.
It is.
It's 1,000 of us. So I had to name the group chat Brady Bunch. So I be texting in there. Today's actually National Symphony Day, so happy National Symphony Day to you too.
Good to see you, little sister. Man, it just amazes me how much you have grown. How old are you?
23.
And in July you'll be
24.
24.
The biggest Leo that you know.
The biggest Leo that we know. You're just so full of wisdom. Do you ever get to a place where You just kind of reminisce on your life, just kind of just think back.
I do find myself reminiscing. You know, like on Snapchat, it has the memories of like the day, and then so I find myself like I always look at my Snapchat memories, like whether from when I first got Snapchat through high school, even stuff that I was doing 2 years ago. Like I always just look back, and I feel like I have lived 30 different lives.
Yeah.
I feel like I have lived so many lives in such a, and I'm only 23, and I'm like, dang, I just be doing stuff. I just love to do anything.
Yeah. So let's go back in time. Let's go back to June 12th, 2019. Um, let's go from the start of that day to the end of that day.
The start of the day, I had just came back on my senior trip. We had went on a 5 day cruise, so we just came back from.
So after you graduated, you went on a cruise?
I did. So the graduation was in May. We didn't go on the cruise because it was I wanted to go on a 5 day cruise, so we didn't go until June. And so then we went on graduation cruise. That's a tradition.
Because I just want to say, my mama took me on my graduation cruise.
That's a tradition.
But I'll let you go ahead.
You graduate, you going on a cruise.
You go on a cruise, bitch.
And so we went on the cruise. Shout out to Carnival. And then
I need to go back to school just to go on another.
And I know that's real. And so we went on the cruise, and then we came back. And so it was the day after we had came back. I had missed one of my friend's birthday while I was on the cruise, so I took her out um, on her birthday the day after. And I had just saw my mom at the orthodontist appointment because I did not wear my retainer, so I needed braces again. And so we were at the orthodontist, and we had got into a little fussing at the orthodontist about the braces. And then I was trying to call her. I'm like, I'll get a job. I'll do anything to get the braces. And she was like, okay, girl, whatever. And so that was the last conversation we had until I got with my other friends. And so we were just sitting out at one of my acquaintances' house. And then the dude that I was really good friends with, he had a gun in the car. And so I told him, I'm like, hey, I don't really do all that. Like, can you just put that up, and then I'll just take you home. So you can put that back up, and then we can go do whatever we was planning to do. I think we had planned to go like to American Deli or something like that because we were in Oxford. Yeah. And so then mom had called me, and she had told me, because at that time I was still my Legacy Club's president. Even though I had graduated, we didn't do presidency yet. So I was still the president, so I still had to post like on our page about an event we had going on. And so I think we had like a summer meeting or applications to get into the Legacy Club. And so she told me to post it. And so mid post, while I was trying to post it up on the page, that's when the gun had went off. I don't know if it had got jammed or whatever was going on in the back seat.
So you were in the front seat?
Yeah, I was in the driver's
behind you.
Yeah, I was in my driver's seat. And then after that happened, I just remember like a really loud ring in my ear, and I was like, I think that I had just been shot. And so I was like, okay, we need to call the police. Somebody needs to call the police. And then nobody was moving fast enough for me, so I was like, okay, I'll call the police. And so I called the police for myself. I knew exactly where I was, the street address. I told them exactly where I was. And then I gave the phone to somebody else to call my mom to tell her. And she thought that we was playing a prank on her. And then she heard me. She was like, oh, no, this is serious.
I never knew that, Bri. I never knew that. You got shot by the mishandle of a gun with one of your friends. And you had to call the police, the ambulance yourself.
Yeah, I called the police ambulance for myself.
So, when you heard that ring in your ear, how did your body feel at that moment? It
just instantly just went completely numb. I didn't really realize about anything else going on. I thought that was just an aftershock effect because, of course, I have never been shot before, so I didn't really know what was going to be, And so it was just loud, and then you just really go dead for a second. Like, you really don't hear much of anything, like, for a good 30 seconds.
So in those 30 seconds of silence,
Mm.
did you think that you were dead?
Not at that moment. I remember instantly, after I had called the police and stuff, I instantly pleaded to the Lord. I'm like, please, this is not my time to go. And so that's all. I didn't think I was it. I just knew that it just wasn't my time. That I just couldn't go at that moment.
It's something about just calling the name Jesus, man. They just gave me chills. Yeah. Something about the name Jesus. It's the sweetest name.
It is the sweetest.
Yeah. The sweetest name I know. So, they had to airlift you.
So no, we actually didn't even do the airlift. It was actually the ambulance. I had two great paramedics that was there.
Shout out to them.
Yeah, shout out to the Oxford paramedics. They were really good. They kept me awake the whole time. They were on the phone with my mom the whole time, like just driving me to UAB. He just had me talking about random things so that I just would stay awake until we got to the hospital. So I know I wasn't airlifted. I was actually driven in ambulance the whole time. I thank God. 'Cause I think being in the airlift would have sent me to even more shock. Being airlifted.
Gotcha. So, man. So now you land in the hospital bed, and I remember that day vividly. I remember getting a call and us having to drive to Birmingham. It was actually me and Uncle Doug. And I was just kind of taken back at that time because it was not a lot of details that was shared. And when you get to a hospital and you see 1,000 people, you automatically think the worst.
Yeah, I would think that too.
Yeah,
with all those people being in there, and I didn't know that all those people were there.
Man, it was crowded. But one thing that I saw about some of your friends, shout out to some of your friends I knew that was in there. They were praying in the waiting rooms, in the hallways. They were praying the entire time, and they just showed me that, man, you around good company. So now that you land in that hospital bed, I know there's a lot of questions, probably police and things like that asking you questions about, and we don't have to name drop or anything like that, about, the young man who was handling the gun. How did you feel at that moment for him?
I actually felt like sympathy for him because I've known him since we were kids, so I know this was never anything intentional that he would have done on purpose. So I actually did feel sympathy for them because I knew, like, whenever people found out whoever did it, that he was going to get a lot of backlash out of the situation. So even because the first people I saw to come into the emergency room was my parents. So even then when I saw them, I just begged them, just don't be mad at him because I just knew it wasn't something that he would do on purpose.
And once again, that describes you. That's the strength in you because a lot of people, they couldn't do that. And did you immediately forgive him?
I did. I think by the time that I got woken up, like off the anesthesia and everything, that I had already in my heart forgiven him about the situation. Because, like I said, we grew up together. We went to St. Mary together. We grew up as littles together, and he was my best friend. So I was like, yeah, I just know this wasn't something that was intentional.
Yeah. Man, that's forgiveness, man. It's important to us because if you hold that unforgiveness in you, that'll cause a person to become sick. Yeah. That'll cause a person just to become depressed, anything like that. And so that's why it's important to forgive. So you receive more news while you're laying down in bed, right? What did the doctor say about the condition after the gunshot?
So when I was finally stable enough, like, to hear, like, from the doctors and everything, because I'm pretty sure that I think my parents found out first before I did, because I think they told, like, y'all and then the other boys about the condition. So when they came in, basically he described about what happened with the bullet fragment and everything, and described that it did hit my spine and that it was only a couple centimeters from my heart. So what happened was it traveled from my right shoulder to the left side. And so that caused me to be a T3, T4 spinal cord injury, basically, which is that the lower half down is paralyzed. And so with that injury is when you will have to go through, well, you have to stay in the trauma unit until you're stable enough to move forward to Spain rehab is where I did my therapy there.
That's a lot to take on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a
At
lot to take
17.
on at 17 years old. That's a lot to carry. Um, how did that make you feel when you heard that?
Well, at because I was 17 at the time, I just thought I'm not gonna be able to do anything. Like for that moment, that didn't really last long in my head of not going to be able to do anything. But for that moment, for those couple of days that I was still in the trauma unit, I was like, this is gonna take a different approach at everything I had planned. I had plans to move on out to school. That getting fall semester. I had plans to go to the beach still that summer for my birthday. I was like, this is gonna push everything that I had planned, like my schedule of life back that I had planned in my head.
Gotcha. Man. But one thing I can say, even while you were in that hospital, it seemed that it did not affect you. Your spirit was still high, like, and I was like, man, she still Bri, sarcastic Bri. Like it didn't bother you at all. So is that just to strengthen you, or you just already had a made up mind that hey, I'm gonna keep going?
I think it was a little bit of both. I think naturally I'm already like you said, sarcastic. So I'm already like, okay. And so when y'all came in, I'm like, oh my gosh, please do not do all that crying and weeping, and I just don't want to hear it because nobody wants to hear that. I'm like, what would y'all be doing all this weeping for? Like I'm still here. Like just everybody relax.
And those words alone, I'm still here. That's God had His hands around you, man, during that situation. And another word I could use to describe you is independent, because you know especially when you first got in your chair, you know we at church all the time, and you used to hate when we try to do stuff for you. Listen, Lord. Don't touch her stuff. Don't pick her up. Don't touch her chair. Don't do none of that.
I remember my first day back at St. Mary. It seems like, I don't know if y'all had a GPS on us, but when I say it felt like the whole congregation was outside, I didn't even know what was going on. I'm like, y'all are getting on my nerves. I remember it was Roland, Monique. I'm like, Sean. I was like, it doesn't take 5 people to get me out the car. I can do it.
Yeah.
And I was just fussing. The independence, it's just really strong. Still to this day, everybody knows. Don't walk up to my car. Just talk from a distance.
You're doing so much now that, you know, maybe some people probably doubt that you probably couldn't, right? Mm-hmm. Some people who end up in this situation have to have that care. Mm-hmm. You drive fast. You're a homeowner. Mm-hmm. Shout out a homeowner.
Yeah, and so I became a homeowner in September.
Come on. That's just a blessing to me that you didn't allow something just to stop you. You know what I mean? Because some people could have gave up easily. What's next for Bri?
What's next? I am currently going back to school in the summertime. I'm going to finish up at Gaston State. Hopefully I will go to Huntsville. I don't know how everybody feels about me leaving to go to Huntsville, because even right now staying in Jacksonville, everybody is still so the goal is
talks about that in the past.
Yes, the goal is for me to go to Huntsville to finish up my bachelor's at the Hill. Shout out to A&M. Only the pristine wear the maroon and white.
Okay.
So to finish up my bachelor's in communications and social marketing over there. And so that's what's next. After that, I still have, me always on the road, always on the trip. I do plan to go international with it next year to Japan next year.
Right? So that's a dream of yours, right?
Yeah, I've always wanted to go to Tokyo. So next year I'm gonna make it happen for the 25th birthday. Good. And so that's my plan.
So if you had any type of advice to leave someone um, dealing with a situation like this, because you guys overcame so much, death, cancer, uh, gunshot. Uh, what type of advice would you leave someone that could possibly be in a similar situation?
The advice I would have is, even though the going gets up and it gets rough, you just have to pursue, and it's no time limit on the time that you can pursue what you want to do. Yeah. You don't have to rush into it. Nobody's saying, "Oh yeah, you got to get out of this. You got to do this right now." Just for me, I just knew that I just didn't want to be in a slump. I just know I just didn't want people to take care of me because I was dependent before this, and I knew I was going to be dependent then. So it's always go on your flow, on your schedule. Don't let anybody rush you into it. Things can be discouraging. I get discouraged all the time, even though it doesn't seem like it. Yeah. And there's moments where I always get discouraged. So I would just give the advice to just stay true to yourself, and whatever you believe that you can do, just go out there and do it.
That's perfect advice. Come on, man. I just got to clap it up for Bri Loveberry, man. Come on. Let's clap it up.
Thank you.
Bri, I'm proud of you. I love you. I'm proud of you. I thank you for coming to the show.
Of course. I told you I wanted to come out here.
Thank you so much. Listen, make sure you guys stay tuned. Your Facebook is Bri Loveberry?
Yes, it is Bri Loveberry, Bri Loveberry, Loveberry.
To hear more about her story, make sure that you follow her on Facebook. Stay tuned.